Welcome back to another episode of the Fake Friends podcast. The host with the most. What's going on? You know who it is. How we doing?
Good, man. Be better when baseball starts.
That's right.
We're doing good. Hopefully they figure that out.
Especially since we're recording episode 22, it'd be nice to know that my Fantasy Edge magazine came. Yo, this thing's sick though. I'm not gonna lie. Real quick. Actually, we can, if there's anything you want to say or shout outs or mention anything like this Friday, any dates?
Well, yeah, this Friday you got a Heartbreak Hotel dropping. That'll be fun. New record. Really cool record. Came together in a really fun way. It was a lot of fun making it. Perfect time for, the celebration of love, I guess. Does any other country celebrate like Valentine's Day, or is that just the United States?
That's a great question. And if I had to answer it, I'm going to say it's probably just us because we're a bunch of consuming morons. And but honestly, I don't know. Like, if I had to assume other nations, maybe like Italy, they seem like some
suckers. They probably do. Yeah, they're suckers for love. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, hopefully baseball starting the same day. I don't know, man. I know catchers and pitchers are supposed to report in like two weeks, but hopefully they figure that out.
So according to this magazine, which they have some interesting things that I agree with. Yeah, they do need to figure some shit out. Matter of fact, I still think they could start on time with the pitchers and catchers getting there on time, but I don't know. It's not looking good.
Not looking pretty right now.
If they did miss April, not even going to be mad. April baseball sucks. Every game's rained out and it's cold as shit. So hopefully they can figure that out. The players union don't want another mediator, like a federal mediator.
They don't want a mediator. Yeah. They don't. Yeah.
So with that being said, till we get further news on that, we just got to be patient, wait and see. I have no faith in the owners.
I have no faith in the owners. None.
Because
none at all.
It really seems like they're the ones that really want to, like, I know the players are hard on some positions with like arbitration years and like minimum wage salary.
Free agency too, I think. I think it's free agency. Like team control, which I fully understand.
So the players, like it's going to hurt a player's pocket not to get paid for a year, but it's really the owners who hurt the most in this if there's no season. So the players seems like they're just going to hold strong until they get what they want.
The only unfortunate thing for the players is like if there is a lockout, it is impactful on players' careers. A lot changes in a year.
Yep.
So that's the unfortunate part, especially I'd say like, younger kids coming up or so.
Yeah, you miss out on the ability to develop.
Yeah. And like, what if this year there was a kid, there's a kid that was going to be his first year in the big leagues. Like he was going to make the roster. This lockout happens. There's a new draft comes around. Things get reevaluated. Lockouts just, they affect things like that. So for the players, I'd say that's where it kind of just sucks, where it could technically affect the future of their careers. Those notable players, of course, that have a lot more stability and, longevity in the game, they're not going to be affected as much. They're kind of just sitting around and waiting. But those minor leaguers, those guys on the cusp, those rookies, those kids that maybe got a September call up last year, this type of stuff can affect them for sure.
Yeah. Yep. So hopefully, for everyone's sake and the fans, they figure that shit out. Figure it out. Let's giddy up. Let's cowboy up and play some fucking baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, real quick. They have a bunch of different lists on here, but this is like the 2022 top 300, like I guess like players you could draft based on availability. I don't know if it's like a mock draft, but I'm assuming, this is who you want to take if you had the pick in this order. I'm going to read you the top 15, and then I'll go to the top. I'll do the first top 15. And then I'll do to 30. Yeah, that's fine. So here we go. Who do you think the top 5 players are from 1 to 5? Who, if you got to get quick, yeah.
Fantasy, I think you got to go Trout. DeGrom.
Trout, DeGrom. Go ahead.
Tatis.
Okay, Tatis, yep.
I'm forgetting a notable. Two more. I only think of guys that I would take in like top 5. So I'm gonna say Acuna and damn. I don't even think I got one of the in the 5, and I'm gonna go with Soto.
2 out of 5. Good. So you got the top 2. So it goes. They have Tatis number 1, Soto 2, Trey Turner 3, Vlad Jr. 4, Jose Ramirez 5.
Who 5?
Jose Ramirez.
So those are the top 5 fantasy picks.
Yeah, according to I'm gonna say it's done by NBC, Fantasy Edge, NBC.
I get. See, here's my thought. I get the Vladdy after that year he had. I mean, he was in my top 5. He was I think he was my number 1 pick. But I don't get. You say Jose Ramirez.
Yep.
Soto, Tatis.
Turner for sure.
Trey Turner for sure. Trey Turner, I understand. That's an all around. That's a fantasy. He's gonna get you some points. Why Jose?
Jose, I think just because he does hit for average. He has hit 40 bombs before. I don't know what he's going to look like in that Indians lineup. I'm sorry, the Guardians. The Guardians, dog.
Guardian. Side note, not to get sidetracked. Washington Commanders. How about that one, huh? No longer the Washington football team. Their name is the Commanders.
Go from the oppressed to the oppressor, dude. Just like that. Jose, I mean, he swipes back. Honestly, when Jose, he's actually a fucking sneaky, quiet, like MVP caliber player. He really is, actually. He can bang from both sides of the plate.
He can hit.
But you're going to love this. No, this is honestly a fucking really good list. I think you'll respect some of this list. Tatis and Soto. Tatis, just because that dude's like, seems like he's a lock for 40 bombs a year and maybe like 30 bags, and he's electric. 6, Bo Bichette. Love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
30-30 candidate.
Yeah, easily. I was going to say, I was thinking of players I would take, but Bo Bichette, like you said, easily can get 30-30. And if he's hot, he probably hit over 300 with 30 bombs, 30 bags. Solid player. I'm surprised Simeon. Where's Simeon?
Where is Simeon? The print's small, so I might be missing him. He might be in the top 30. I don't know. Let me just continue.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole 7, Shohei Ohtani 8, Walker Buehler 9, Max Scherzer 10.
Garrett Cole 7, Ohtani 8.
Interesting. Cole and Walker Buehler and
Buehler, huh?
All at the head of DeGrom. Very interesting.
See, I had DeGrom up there because I thought he was an average 10 Ks a night.
Yeah,
10 Ks an outing.
I if you have DeGrom, you're gonna be all set every time he throws.
Yeah.
So then 11 through 15, interesting names again, because I think Acuna could be in the top 5 for sure. But Acuna at 11,
44 guy. I mean,
yep. Kyle Tucker at 12, Mookie Betts 13, DeGrom 14, Machado 15. Now, if you're taking pitchers out of this, I know it's fantasy, they do belong, but like the top 10 without the pitchers, it's pretty interesting. I think it's right. Besides maybe.
I'm sorry, I got Acuna in that top 5.
Yeah, I know, for sure.
He's a bag getter.
I think Kyle Tucker's actually a really solid player, but since he hasn't really like done it consistently, top 12 fantasy player, interesting. I do think he's good. He could probably hit 30 bombs. Ahead of Mookie Betts, interesting. Ahead of DeGrom, interesting.
But this type of stuff is always a what you done for me lately.
Yep.
It
is.
It's a what you done for me lately. So
it's a little different. So it's like,
because if this was 4 years ago, Cody Bellinger would be number 1, number 2.
I know it's going to be interesting. There's some interesting names on here based on some seasons players had and being hurt and whatnot. So it is interesting.
Yeah.
You think some guys would be lower, some guys would be higher. So then at 16 to 20, 16, Corbin Burns, Freddie Freeman, Jordan Alvarez, Luis Robert, and Brandon Woodruff. See, like Luis Robert, who I actually think is a tremendous player, is going to be one of their better players over the next few years.
Yep.
He just hasn't been healthy and hasn't done it. But I think he can. But it's like,
again, durability is, like availability is one of the best abilities. So I think that should factor into a fantasy rating also. Like, how often is a guy going to play?
Exactly. Number 25. No, seriously, number 25, interesting name, and you'll be able to shed light on the name. But here we go. 21, Mike Trout. 22, Aaron Judge. 23, Shane Bieber. 24, Bryce Harper. 25, Julio Urias. Interesting.
Oh, wow. No, that's interesting. But that kid, yeah.
Be a consistent starter. That's why it's interesting.
No. I'll tell you what. When the lights he has shined over the past season and a half, because he was a bright spot for him in the playoffs 2 years ago, I think, or a year ago. He's got potential to win a Cy Young. I think so. If he stays healthy and it all clicks for him a year, he can win a Cy Young. He's got nasty stuff. He's dirty from the left side. He's 95 from the left side with filthy off speed. It's not easy to hit.
No, I do like him. I think he's a tremendous pitcher, but he just is he going to be a starter? He's been
he's supposed to be. And I just think that's because of where he's at. Like, look at that rotation.
All right, I got to be missing Cody Bellinger.
Because remember, they had Kershaw. What'd they have at the start of that season? Kershaw, Bueller, May. And didn't they have a veteran? Didn't they have another vet in that line, in that rotation? There wasn't I don't think there was really. He was a spot starter because I don't think there was really a spot, and he was young. I think, I really think he's easy for me, a number one and number two guy in rotation.
Yeah, and if Dustin May's healthy, dude, that kid.
Yeah, he's filthy too. So
I wasn't high on him, and then I saw him pitch more and more, and yeah, that kid could be fucking special. Cody Bellinger's 81. Trevor Story's 78. I know he had a down year last year, but he's a lot better. Seriously, like there's some interesting names on here, especially for young players like Wander Franco at 52.
Well, because I think they're like fantasy baseball is not real baseball. You and me know that. Like this list is definitely predicated on like
players. It's more about
it's like with points
and the league setup. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like you're factoring every column of that stat sheet. And probably percentages and how many walks a guy averages a year because that's points. How many strikeouts a guy averages a year because that's points deducted. So that all factors into probably the rating.
So Marcus Simeon's at 102.
Yeah.
See, but like for instance, they have Frankie Montas, pitcher for the Athletics, at 83. I'm like, he's not even a 1-2 guy. Like I feel like he should be lower than.
And see, that rating could be the hits per
right, depends on the
batter ratio or what
league. Mixed league hitter. So what's going on?
But I'll tell you what. Here's why. Because I did two fantasy leagues last year. The one that me and you were in, of course, where I drafted like 2 A-ball players just because I liked them. And then I did another one with like a few members of my cohort. And I drafted in that, not predicated on like fantasy points, but just predicated on like players that I, thought were good. And I think I came in like 3rd based on the fact that these players produce. I think you can't go wrong drafting guys that consistently produce, regardless of like, fantasy strategy or points per walk, points per hit. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not real baseball. So I would just apply, like if I was going to draft a team, these are players I want. That's kind of how I operate with fantasy baseball.
Yeah, for
fantasy sports.
There are certain players you definitely want to like. A lot of people would say, "Oh, Trey Turner. Why would I take Trey Turner over maybe like Trout or
Machado
Soto,
or Correa? Yeah,
Correa or Tatis, because Trey Turner hits for high average, swipes a ton of free. scores run.
And even's got a little pop in his bat now.
So,
but you know,
player
people that pay attention to baseball, they know that. So that like, I don't think there's any wrong value on Trey Turner being in that top 5 because you know that he gets hits, like you said, scores runs, drives the ball, and is going to swipe bags. Why would I not want? I mean, like, if I'm playing a video game, he's on my team. You know, it's the guys like it is the guys that are like the Jose Ramirez, the Julio Urias kid. Those are the guys that, like, if you aren't paying attention, you're not even thinking of them being effective in fantasy.
Right.
You know?
So moving forward, I know this is your expertise because you're a scout, you're a pro scout. I'm not even being sarcastic. 2022 top prospects. Here we go. I'm going to rifle through the top 5 and 6 through 10. I wonder how many they have here.
Okay. Adley should be first, right?
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Might agree. You actually might agree with who's number 1. Well, they have a top 100, but we'll do it just for 2022. I wonder if these guys are expected to make their major league debuts. So number 1, Bobby Witt Jr.
Okay.
Number 2, Julio Rodriguez. Number 3, Riley Green. Do you need to know what team they're from? Like Julio's Seattle.
Where's Green at? Is Green with
right?
Detroit, right? Yeah. Okay.
4, Adley Rutschman. Number 5, Shane Baz for
Where's
Tampa.
Torkelson at?
We'll get to it in a minute. So any thoughts, comments about players in that top 5, who you like, who you think?
Bobby Witt, I think is a sure thing.
Yeah, right. 100%.
I think that kid's a sure thing.
Real deal.
And Rutschman. I think Rutschman's a sure thing. Both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive. What was the other kid's name? Rodriguez?
Julio Rodriguez, outfielder for Seattle Mariners. You have Riley.
I got to see it. I mean, and the reason I got to see it is just because, like, Joe Adele was supposed to be a real thing too.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying he's not a real thing. It's
taking more time.
Things take time at the big league level. But I think guys like Adley and I think guys like Bobby Witt, I think that ability is impactful right away.
Yeah. Like you look at someone like Joe Adele, you might see him take BP and you're like, where's the swing during the game? You don't play like this during the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got tools. And so sometimes it's just like, you know, you put tools at the highest level and you expect them to translate. And sometimes the tools don't always translate.
You know what the Angels need to do is they need to trade Joe Adele. And because he's not, because I think he still has value to some team. You get something good, but where's he playing? Because Shohei.
I would go get an arm for that kid.
Yeah, you got Mike Trout. They have the young kid Brandon Marsh who plays the outfield. Who else is on that roster that is actually, of worthy? Where do they like to play players? I mean, they have Adele. They still have Justin Upton, the Taylor Ward kid, I guess. Gets reps out there. But they have Joe Adele. Wow. You want to hear something interesting before we get away from the prospects? This magazine's projecting Mike Trout to play left field.
I can see that. He has no Gold Gloves in center. He doesn't have the strongest arm.
But me and you, even though
I know
we just been beating the drum on Mike Trout not being a elite defender and not a great center fielder forever.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to take too much. Hang on, I don't want to take too much away from him. Granted, the guy is now 31. So could he have lost a step? Sure. He's not the 20-year-old kid that he was when he came into the league at 19, 20. And maybe, it's been 10 years. But it's definitely not spoken about in conversation like that in terms of him being an elite defender, which I don't think he really ever was in center field in comparison to some elite defenders in center field.
Right.
So I get it. That is interesting, though. If they're moving him to left field, then you don't trade Joe Adele because he's probably.
Yeah, no, they're not going to.
Yeah.
They have him slated to play starting right field.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Shane Baz, I do like. He that's another young arm for the Rays. So moving forward, 6 through 10, your boy at number 6, who's going to be the real deal, Torkelson.
Torkelson kid can hit.
He'll be up this year. So Riley Green, Bobby Witt, Adley Rutschman, Baz, I think are all going to be up this year. I don't know about Julio, but I'm assuming those four will all be up. Torkelson will be up. Right?
Torkelson should be up. And Rutschman.
Yep. Number 7, O'Neal Cruz, shortstop for the Pirates. He was involved in a car accident that killed people, but he wasn't at fault, so I think he's good to play. Big boy. Yeah. 6'7" shortstop, Dominican kid, I believe.
6'7".
Lefty bat.
6'7".
How
you gonna do that? That's big. That's a lot of that's some long legs to move around.
Joe Ryan, Minnesota, right-handed pitcher.
I know that kid.
I don't know him. What do you talk about him? What do you know about him?
I'll tell you a story about that kid. He went to a high school that I used to coach at one time. That's the kid I told you was like, hey, we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I played. And he looked at me, he's like, could you run? I was like, I could run a little bit. And he looked at me, he's like, oh, thought you'd be fast because your butt's kind of big. And I was like, all right, kid, leave me alone.
All right, dude. Sounds like a pitcher thing to say.
No, but he can throw it. He can chuck it. And I don't even know if it's anything special about his stuff. You know, nothing. I don't think his arm's like electrifying. I think low mid 90s. But I think his stuff just misses bats. He does have the mentality too. He's a competitor. I think he went to, where'd he go first? I think he went to some UC in SoCal first. I think it was Northridge. I think he left Northridge. I think where I think he finished up at? Stanislaus State. And I think he kind of just made a name for himself in the past year and a half or so, or 2 years with Tampa, right? Yeah, be interesting to see him. I actually had him in a few. I actually had him on my fantasy during the end last year. He had a few outings.
Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, he had a few outings last year, and was beneficial.
So, number 9 is interesting because I think this dude doesn't have a spot on the Red Sox lineup. Jarren Duran, outfielder. I have no clue. They should trade him and Daubach right now because they signed Jackie Bradley Jr. to come back. So you're expecting Verdugo, Bradley. You're expecting them maybe to bring back Kyle Schwarber. I don't know. We don't know what they're doing with their roster because the league's done, but Jarren Duran just doesn't seem like he has a spot. I don't know. I just, again, I watch him play. Do you look magical when you're on the base path? I mean, when you're on the field, you know what I mean? Like, do you look special? You know, I just don't see it. I think he could be a pretty decent player, but I just don't see it. They need to trade him. He ain't going to play in the Red Sox lineup, especially if they bring back and they have JD.
Yeah, you got Verdugo. And you got Jackie Bradley.
But if they bring back Schwarber, he can play the outfield.
You know that's what I'm saying. You got Verdugo and Bradley already, so.
And I think they want to call up the Tristan Casas kid at some point, who's going to be a first baseman. So it's like there's a lot of room running out a lot of room in the Boston lineup. And at number 10, Nolan Gorman, who is a third baseman, moved to second for the Cardinals. Lefty bat, supposed to be able to bang it. So he should be up this year. He was drafted in 2018.
I'm just looking at some of these lists. Sometimes they have like an ETA on guys.
So this list you might like a little better because it's weird how they have top prospects for 2022 and then just top 100 out of whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'll read you the top 10 for this because it's a little different. Witt, number 1. Rodriguez, number 2 for the Mariners. Number 3 is Adley. 4 is Torkelson. 5 is Riley Green. CJ Abrams, who is at number 6, who, you know what, I don't know. CJ Abrams, interesting situation. He's a shortstop. They're gonna have to move him.
I think that's why Tatis started moving around.
Yeah, but I mean, have you seen CJ?
This kid bats left-handed. Haven't seen much of him, but Tatis is what, 6'4"?
I don't think so. I think he's around your height, 6'2".
Nah, I thought Tatis was a little taller, but this Abrams kid might be built more like a middle infielder than Tatis. not as versatile. Tatis can literally play anywhere on the field. It should stay at shortstop, in my opinion, because he's that good. But hey, maybe this Abrams kid comes up and plays second base.
That's where I would put him.
Yeah, I would keep Tatis as my shortstop. I'm not every day I walk into the ballpark, it's batting second, third, first, playing short, Fernando Tatis Jr. So it is an interesting situation though,
If the Abrams kid can put the ball in play and he's as advertised with his bat, I don't know what he is power, but at least it's just with putting the ball in play and getting on base.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, you lead him off and then you follow up with Tatis Machado. I mean, you line up set. Or even like the Cronenworth kid, you could bat him too, Tatis. Like the Padres have a scary young team, as crazy as that sounds. Like,
it's very true. Very true.
Marco Luciano for the Giants. You ever seen him play?
No, but I heard he's not. Yeah, I don't know. He's like an A-ball. I think he's like. Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. Here we go. I didn't even see this. This was right in front of my face on the top 100. So the guys in the first 6 that I just mentioned to you, yeah, they're all ETA. They're all going to play
2022. Yep.
Jordan Lawler. Wow, he was just drafted by the Diamondbacks shortstop at number 8.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Brennan Davis.
I am. I will tell you. I am interested to see how long it takes, and maybe it'll be in 2 years, which would be extremely fast. But the Red Sox, the Mayer kid, that kid looks impressive.
They have him slated for 2024.
He looks impressive. You might actually. I know you hate that franchise, but between him and Blaze, might have some exciting young players in a couple years.
I don't hate the franchise. I hate the owner.
I know. You might, but that might be some exciting kids to watch in a couple years.
Oh yeah, they'll reel me back into one.
Hopefully they don't do anything stupid like trade them away.
No,
for
they're
some
not.
Arms or something. You know how teams do that. Teams go on. They get hot. They go on a run and like we need an arm. I'll give you one of these prospects because we're trying to win right now. You just hope they don't do that with like a Blaze or what's his name, Mayer. Marcelo Mayer.
But Bogaerts is probably going to leave. He's opting out of his contract.
That's why I think that Mayer kid's up in 2 years easily.
Here's something for you. I like this kid a lot, and he was in a big trade from Toronto to Minnesota for Barrios. He's expected to play this year after being drafted last year, and I love it. Austin Martin, outfield shortstop. I love that kid. I like him a lot. Vandy boy. I like him.
Yeah. I'm interested in Edwards, the other Tampa Bay prospect. Xavier plays second base. Switch hitter.
They do have
Xavier Edwards. He's a switch hitter. Plays second base. He should be up this year also.
Xavier Edwards.
The reason I'm interested in Tampa Bay's prospects is because, like I said, they apply like analytical evaluation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They apply the analytics, like the analytical part of the game. They apply it to the development more than just decision making. So like their prospects, I think like, what a farm system is supposed to be in terms of development, I think they're doing it correctly, if that's, the proper expression there. So I'm interested to see what he turns out.
Well, here's a name for you that I'm really excited for. I watched him pitch in spring training last year. This kid could honestly be just dominant. Hunter Green, expected to pitch this year.
Yep, he could. Throws the ball 1,000,000 miles an hour.
And his slider, man, if he can consistently control that and locate his fastball, he could be just a two.
I watched some of them spring training. Yep, I watched some of the spring training outings. That dude throws the ball way too hard. And if he learns how to pitch, probably be unhittable.
Yeah, no,
he'd be unhittable. That could be unhittable.
Yeah,
he's got like closer stuff, and it looks like he can do it for 7-8 innings.
He's built like a horse. He's a big boy, big legs. He's a big kid.
That shit's impressive. So,
Well, here's interesting. Henry Davis next year, they have him in 2023 catcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, who was taken number one, who shouldn't have been. He's probably not a number one prospect.
That was last year's number one pick, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Any thoughts about him?
I don't understand that. The reason I don't understand that, and maybe the Pirates know something everybody else don't, but just from outside looking in on paper, the kid's 22. You took him number one, which means there's a high price of investment. He's going to be in the bigs in 2 years. He's the number one pick, and he's a catcher. Unless things have changed, maybe it's just part of like the rebuilding process where you want a solid defensive catcher that kind of helps manage the staff. But like, I think the game has changed where you want electrifying players that are impactful. You want impactful players. And I just don't know if he's that for a number one pick. And he's going to take a couple years to get to the bigs. When you could have took Jack Leiter, who you literally could have started on opening day and probably would have went out and got you 7 innings and a W.
I know. I'm kind of. It's kind of interesting why I haven't seen Leiter. Is he in the
He's
top?
number 12. The list I got right here, he's number 12, and he's projected to be up there at 23 and 23. And I think that's just because they don't the last person I remember, which is so odd, but I think his name was.
Okay, this has his
name was
has him at 18. Okay.
Remember Mike Leake?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he didn't spend I don't think he spent more than a month, if that, in the minors. I think he went straight to the league.
That's like Strasburg too.
Yeah, straight to the league. They go to some rookie ball spring training the year that they're drafted. They go to spring training, then they're right in the big leagues. And that Jack Leiter kid, I mean, should have went to big league spring training if they started on time, and he should have been in big league spring training all spring and then been on the starting rotation because that kid has big league stuff.
Yeah, why waste the innings? Just let him go.
Just let him go throw it.
End of the pitches, just let him go.
So there's a terminology they use with young athletic position players where they based on the franchise, hey, he's going to learn at the big league level. Let a pitcher that has electrifying, nasty stuff who can get away with making mistakes learn at the big league level how to pitch.
That's like me with Casey Mize. I think that's what they're doing with him.
Yeah, let him learn at the big league level. Why let him face minor league hitters to learn how to pitch and then get to the bigs? No, let the learning curve be steep.
Mm-hmm.
Let the learning curve be steep at 19, 20, or 2021 so that when he's 25, he's unhittable.
Yeah, he's unhittable. Exactly. I mean, that's what happened with basically Verlander. Remember when Verlander first started out? He wasn't hot. And once he settled,
then he figured out how to pitch.
Mm-hmm. Here's a name for you that I really like. I've never seen him play, but I just like what he could potentially become based on, size and projection. Royce Lewis. I need my hat. I'm like Royce Lewis, drafted number 1 in 2017.
Yeah.
Hurt last year, so he couldn't play, but he's supposed to be up this year. I like him.
Yeah, he's interesting. I think, again, I just had this conversation with one of the kids that I'm coaching, and I think athleticism separates you in this game unlike any other sport. Like when you on a basketball court, everybody's athletic. Everybody can run, jump, some more than others, but everybody has some sense of athletic ability that is superior to just the average person. In baseball, there can be a large disparity of athleticism between the 18 guys on the field. You know what I mean? Like, for example, when Fernando Tatis is on the field, when Acuna is on the field, those guys are superior athletes amongst the other defenders on that field. Mm-hmm. Royce Lewis seems like one of those superior athletes, kind of like the Seattle kid that got hurt. Kyle Lewis, is it? He's like he's like tall. These guys are superior athletes. Yeah, they're superior athletes. So like, it's always interesting to see because you don't get to just that athleticism isn't always on display when you're in the box or when you're standing at your position in the field. And so be interesting to see what comes of that when these athletes get to the highest level.
Here's a kid that is going to find an interesting position to play. Projected for 2023. Where he plays at the major league level is on lock, and he will not move this player. And first base is on lock. So Jordan Walker, third baseman for the Cardinals, who is potentially, they project him to be a stud.
Really?
where's he going? Because
Jordan Walker.
Jordan Walker, yeah, he's 6'5". They have him listed 6'5", 220. Big boy, supposed to just hit nukes.
Where's he from? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Be interesting to see where they play him. Maybe the universal DH.
He's supposed to have some pop, huh?
Yeah, but he's supposed to be able to slug it.
Yeah, he's supposed to have some pop.
This kid, Mackenzie Gore, number 36, drafted in 2017. I think he was the Padres like top pick. He's been struggling. He's supposed to come up this year.
I think he got up last year. I think he got up I think he got a taste last year.
They sent him to fucking the facilities in Arizona because he couldn't develop his windup. Couldn't repeat it. He has mechanical issues.
He didn't get on any big league bump?
No.
Wow.
Not good. Yeah, it's a lot of like the Seattle Mariners are going to be an interesting team to watch. They have a lot of young talent.
Honestly though, sometimes I just wonder if franchises even care with the way that they like operate.
Dude, no. You hit my point. No, because I've been explaining this to people, talking about like the Flores situation in Miami and all this shit in the news and sports. And I go, guys, you have to understand, owners don't care about winning. You could probably name on one hand the amount of franchises that care about winning in each sport. They don't. It's a tax write-off. They don't care. Coming in and out. They don't care. They don't
care.
Everyone that gets hired is based on friendships.
That is a revenue stream, tax write-off. They don't care. And if they win, they're like, oh, great, my income increases this year. Like, they don't care.
So, yes.
I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. You'll have your farm directors. You'll have your former player managers. You'll have your managers. You have your players. You have your GMs who were former players. You'll have people within this system that care about winning just because they're competitive. But the people signing the checks don't care. And ultimately, how things operate are predicated on the people signing the checks. And granted, some like you said, some owners have more inclination to be like, hey, I want my tax write-off to at least be respectable and look good. And so, yeah, there's more resources or there's more activity in terms of that, that goes into, hey, let's try to win. But you're absolutely right. The owners of the team, the ball clubs don't care. So like these players that have potential to be great, these players that are great, they're just numbers. They're just numbers. And with baseball, the numbers, there's an influx of numbers. Well, not so much anymore since I think they're going to keep the draft at 20 rounds now. The numbers change every year. But you're right. I think, and that was my thing about the Pirates drafting that catcher. These organizations that have that basically suck.
How do you not draft? What are you
doing?
Pirates. How are you not drafting Jack Leiter?
What are you doing? Because it's not like you have a staff that's set in stone that's helping you compete.
And then if you're like, well, we don't feel like we're going to be competitive for a while, we don't want to draft Jack Leiter or whatever. How are you not taking a shortstop? Now you could have to say, oh, we have Nick Gonzalez and all this shit. Still add the athleticism. The Lawler kid that the Diamondbacks got and then with the Sox got, Mayer, it just doesn't make sense. Sometimes
doesn't add up, man. Does not add up.
Shit gets overcomplicated. It doesn't need to be. Shit's easy.
Yeah, man.
Make easy fucking decisions. It's very interesting. A lot of people don't understand that owners don't give a shit.
They don't care.
Really don't.
They don't care. And I don't want to speak for them. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Like from what I see,
and if they don't care, hold on. You're right. Because maybe they do care. And if they do care, they're very ignorant for how
or how to win.
They don't know how to evaluate like a good GM or like
stuff like that happens.
To understand how to get the right coach and then build the right. They just don't understand.
This is very true.
If I owned a freaking baseball franchise, you would know. You would know. You would know. I'm not saying I'm running the team. I'm not telling, because I would hire guys underneath me that I would trust. I would not be putting my nose in business unless absolutely something needed to happen. Like if my GM went rogue and was like, I'm about to trade our franchise player, then I would step in and be like, nah, dog, not happening. I veto that. You didn't do that. I'd call up. If he traded one of our players, I'd call him. I'd be like, no, he didn't do that. He's fired. But
that's the problem. I'd be like owner, GM, and like bench coach. Hands on. But
Oh boy, breaking news. Major League Baseball
that's
stops
interesting.
testing players for steroids after nearly 20 years. What?
We'll have to wrap that on the next episode tomorrow because Barry Bonds just didn't get in the hall. So that's great.
Oh, dude, that's what?
That's fantastic. Unbelievable.
Dude.
That's unbelievable. I don't want to rant. I got to pick up a kid from school in like 20 minutes. I don't want to rant for another hour because that's amazing to me right there. They're so all of the asterisks and frustrations and taints and just they cheaters, this, that, and the third. And now it's just kind of like, you know what?
We're not
going to test for it anymore. So you guys can just do what you want.
You're going to see Bryce Harper show up to camp looking like fucking the guy from Rookie of the Year. The one that's like, this one's for mommy. Bryce is going to be a fucking refrigerator with a head.
Man, how do you do that? How do you do that?
Oh,
How do you do that?
That's not real. That is real. Major League Baseball stops testing players for steroids after nearly 20 years. Huh. Interesting. All right. So real quick.
I wonder why.
There's some players on this list that you probably want to shed light on. So here's a section in here they have called After the Hype. Did you see Tristan McKenzie pitch for the Indians?
Maybe once.
Yeah.
Nothing too thorough.
Yeah.
No.
Another player they on had Joe Adell.
Yeah.
I think even though I wasn't impressed with Joe Adell, I do think based on his size, his swing, he does have.
Give him some time. I think he just needs time.
Yeah. If anything, just get him in a new.
I think he just needs some time.
Gavin Lux.
Still not sold on that kid.
Yeah.
I've seen him a lot. In comparison to Adele, I think Adele's tools do translate. I think he just has to figure that part out. I don't know if Lux's tools translate to be what he was hyped up to be. And I think the hype was more for actually, like, I remember he was trade bait at one point. I think the hype was to get something in return. And I think his ability is, and really here's the ironic thing. A lot of like prospects that are hyped up, they're average ball players. The superstars, they don't come every year.
They
don't come every year.
I agree.
You know what I mean? That they don't. They're not. There isn't every year a phenom.
Yeah, Gavin Lux. I just think he hasn't had a real opportunity to show himself. I mean, more so last year than any other year. They said they never really wanted. Like, oh, Gavin Lux is off the trade discussion, but
yeah,
right price always is sellable. But yeah, I just don't think he was just getting hyped up. We'll see. I'll wait till this year to make my final decision on him because I feel like I haven't seen enough of him. Alec Boehm, third baseman for the Phillies. Thoughts?
I think there's some potential there.
I do too.
Very, 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 very comparable to like Chris Bryant.
Yeah, he can one-hand balls up the park.
Yep.
I think he just kind of stays within himself and doesn't try to force things. I think young players, it's easy to know that you're good and people expect you to be good. You press. I think he kind of got into that.
Yeah. He's young.
Yeah, he's young.
He might have a run of like 3 to 5 years of being, pretty consistently 25, 30 home runs. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do like him a lot. So if you want to wrap this up shortly, we can finish with maybe, let's say if the season started up today in terms of they can play, we still have some big free agents left on the market. Where do some guys land like Correa? What are your thoughts?
Correa, I still think he either goes back to Houston or he fits in pinstripes. But honestly, with the lockout, with the world, anything's possible, man. And sometimes I don't know. I'll tell you where I would like to see him. Definitely would like to see him in a New York Yankee uniform. I think that's fitting. I think it's very fitting.
If you're the Yankees, you need to be trying to bring in Story or Correa because you don't have a shortstop. I like Gleyber Torres. Hasn't lived up to the hype. Probably needs to be moved out of New York. But they have Gleyber listed at short. And you could bring in Correa playing middle infield with DJ LeMahieu. Very interesting. Combo right there. Even Story. I think one of those guys has to be going to New York, right? It just, I don't know. It just seems like they need someone. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. A lot of possibilities. You know. Even like the Red Sox, they should have, honestly, the Red Sox should have signed Javi Baez.
You know, I think we operate a little different. We like cool players. Like if this in this free agent market, I would have signed everybody if I would have signed them all. Oh, you all play short? Well, guess what? Everybody is playing somewhere today because I want all of you I want all of you in my lineup. I would have signed them all. I would have signed Baez if I could. I would have signed them all. So like, especially when it's like it is now. I mean, you had guys. I would have had Baez, Lindor, Simeon, and Correa on the same team if I could. I'd have been like 1 through 4, easy. But you're right. Why wouldn't you? I mean, you guys could easily use a second baseman.
Yeah,
that can play short whenever, you know.
And here's the thing, and I'm not even trying to say they actually needed him. I do think it would be like, I don't know, the Red Sox made some interesting decisions. They could, without a doubt, insert Kike Hernandez to be everyday second baseman, which I think they should.
Okay.
But the reason why I say Baez is because let's say Bogaerts does want a bigger contract, which he without a doubt deserves.
Baez can play short.
Baez and Bogaerts leaves. They're like, hey, you know what? Slide Javi right over. And then he fills the gap until Mayer comes up. Move Javi back to second.
And you got the other kid that I think might be pretty solid, York.
And Nick York. I think he's going to be a sleeper banger.
I think he's going to be a solid player.
I do too.
He looked like he has some intangible tools from what I've seen. Like he's a baseball player that just has some intangibles that helps him succeed. So we'll see.
Yeah, very interesting. I think that's why I want the freaking season to be valid again.
Yeah, it's got to be here.
So much roster move. Like, dude, you know what you're going to see? Whenever the season gets like the sign off to be like baseball's open again, you're going to see like a video game list of transactions. You're like, swing, like
done. Because they're already in place. Yeah, like, hey, once they open the gates, let's just put this is what's going to happen.
Yep, it's just going to flow right in. So, I mean, dude, if you want to wrap up this little fantasy talk now.
I'm dying on the hill too that the best fantasy player is the best player in real life.
And who's that?
I mean, I won't say the list didn't have it right because they did have him in the top 5, but I'm taking Tatis, number 1. Guy hits bombs, guy hits average, guy steals bags. I definitely would have Acuna up there. I know he got hurt last year, but if he doesn't get hurt, I think he's almost a guarantee, like he's 30-30 and probably almost 40-40 yearly. He might not hit for the highest average. He might be a 280 hitter, 270 here and there. He can also get hot, but he's still in 40 bags. He's hitting 40 home runs. Guys that miss balls and they still go out the ballpark hit 30 plus, and he's one of them. And he's electrifying to watch.
You know what I love about these young guys? I mean, you look at someone like Vladdy and Soto, you could be like, oh, they're the counterpart to their side of the plate. Like they are.
Yeah.
Vladdy is the right-handed Soto. Soto is the left-handed Vladdy.
Yeah, you can say that. Yep.
I think that's super cool. Because if I had to pick between who's a better hitter between Juan Soto and Vladimir Guerrero, that could be pretty freaking tough.
From what I've seen out of Vladdy lately,
I honestly right now, and this is no disrespect to Soto, because I am very, 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 very high on Soto's hitting ability. I would slightly lean to Vlad because I think this dude don't miss pitches.
Not only, I'll tell you, and we talked about this, not only does he not miss, I think he knows what he's getting every time. Like, I think he's figured it out where he makes literally pitch-to-pitch adjustments. Not saying Soto doesn't, because I think Soto has been doing that. But with Vladdy's ability, power-wise, him making pitch-to-pitch adjustments is, like, impressive. Based on the pitch he gets first, to the pitch he gets second, to the pitch he ends up swinging at. He swings at everything like he knew it was coming. And now I think Soto is just really good physically with his hands, where it doesn't matter what you throw him.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like he's going to hit it just because his swing is that effective and good. Vladdy, you throw him 2 pitches, he's like, you're about to throw me this, and I'm going to hit it out the ballpark. That's how his at-bats look every time, and it's very impressive.
Very Manny.
Very impressive. Yeah, very impressive.
I'm gonna lean on this one. Not saying he's not already an awesome player, and certain people think that. I do think you're gonna see more of a following behind this player because he's gonna go 30-30 and beyond. Bo Bichette will be considered a top player.
Yeah, easily.
Because Bo Bichette has a lethal freaking bat, man.
I really hope for the sake of that team too. I hope the Biggio kid, like you said, sucks it up, comes around. He has a nice swing from the left side, but I think he helps that lineup and a player like Bo Bichette really flourish.
Yep. And they got Springer.
Yep.
Springer.
Yep. Really hope they flourish. I wish Simeon went back, but some insight on that. Because I'm out with Gwenny, who played with him at Cal. Played with Simeon at Cal, and he was
an inside scoop.
Yeah, some inside scoop on that on why he's at Texas.
Okay.
But it came down to the years.
Mm-hmm.
So
understandable.
Toronto was like 4, 5. Mm-hmm. That's 7 years. It's like, hey, I'm 32. This is the last time I'm signing a contract. I don't want to be a free agent again.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I'd be thinking. If you're playing wherever you play, makes so much sense to do the years. And did he mention maybe any other teams he was considering that were like
Toronto? Definitely going back to Toronto. But I mean, he's in the same boat. He's got, I think, 3 kids. Mm-hmm. He's got 3 kids. You want to raise a family in 7 years for a childhood. If they're already 2 or 3, you don't want to move around again in 4. You want to be stable where you're at, and why not in Texas? So
that team's going to be fun if Corey Seager could stay healthy.
Yeah,
whatever you want to say about him playing there, but from the left side with that bat, him and
Simeon, that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
It's looking mean. Jackie Leiter, Josh Jung.
Yeah. So,
yeah. I remember.
All right. Well,
till next time.
Which might be tomorrow or the day after. Who knows?
Sooner than later. Gonna get consistent.
Baseball stopped testing for steroids, so it's time to go juice up.
Unbelievable.
Does that mean that I can go juice and just walk into a spring training camp and be like, who is this guy?
Looking like a fucking fridge, dude. Look like you got fucking softballs in your bicep.
Oh man, that's crazy.
So
all right, man. Yeah, we'll have to say that one for another time.
All right, later.
Why can't we